So today we have with us Sir Coach Andy, and he'll be sharing on the topic of winning the world with happiness. And after hearing this topic, this inspired a quote by one of my favorite speakers, Jim Rohn, and he says that happiness is not by chance, it's by choice. Yeah, I remember one of my favorite stories is about this young lady, and she was so stressed and upset about everything that was going on in her life at work. So she went to her dad, and her dad was a chef, and her dad was trying to console her to no resolve. So he decided, you know what, he's gonna try something different. So he took her to the kitchen and he put 3 pots of water on the stove, 3 pots of boiling water. And the daughter was very curious as to what her father was doing, but she obliged and continued watching. In the first pot, the father put an egg. Second pot, the father put a potato. And in the third pot, the father put some coffee beans, and he let them boil for a few minutes. And then the daughter asked, Dad, why are you having me here cooking coffee, egg, and potato? Then the father told the daughter, look at the egg. What do you see? Look at the potato. What do you see? Look at the coffee bean. What do you see? The daughter replied, I see an egg, I see potato, I see coffee beans. Then the father said, look closer. Then he took the egg and he broke it. And the egg was hard with that nice yellow in the inside and the white on the outside. And the father said, you see, the egg went into this hot water and it came out hard. Yeah, then he took the potato and he smashed it with a fork. And the father said, the potato went in hard and it came out soft and weak. Then he poured some of the coffee to the daughter and he gave it to her so she can drink. And she relaxed. And then the father said, now how was that? The coffee bean went in with no smell, but came out with strong aroma and changes the way you feel. Many times in life, we would go into a situation where, we are being dashed from side to side, and we can come out hard, as the egg, or maybe soft and brittle, like the potato. Maybe we can come out like coffee beans, with that aroma where we make everything around us feels better. So I repeat, as the great Jim Rohn said, happiness is not by chance, but by choice. And without further ado, I'd love to give the space to Coach Andy to share with us his presentation on winning the world with happiness.
Hi there, Adrian here, and this is a video from a Zoom session that we do. We do these Zoom sessions every Sunday and we take questions and answers from the audience, some of our students, some of our members. We never know what questions are coming up, so I'm always excited to do these sessions and I hope to see you at one of them. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below and check out the other playlists that we have. Thank you, enjoy.
So today I'm gonna host this session on happiness and its tool. I'm gonna host it together with Diano. My name is Andy and I'm studying about happiness from past few years. I have learned a lot of things that help me become happy and enjoy my life. I want to pass on all the knowledge to you, but only learning wouldn't be sufficient. You would need to practice it regularly and for years. Let's see what we want to learn. So we will be learning about true virtues of happiness. Happiness, how it works, how it doesn't work, real cause of unhappiness, tools for happiness. So let's see what are the true virtues of happiness. Happiness does not come from pretending, making a lot of money, being powerful, owning a lot of things, or sitting on the beach all day eating chocolates. Real happiness comes from love, optimism, courage, freedom, proactivity, security, health, spirituality, altruism, perspective, humor, and purpose. If you have any question anytime, feel free to ask me. And we encourage the questions. So happiness, how does it work? Happy people really stand out, partly because they are so rare. Not a lot of people are happy. So we can sense if we see a very happy people in a crowd, we can have the vibes. 50% of happiness comes from genes, 10% from circumstances, leaving 40% that we can control. Only thing which keep people away from happiness is fear. Look over your life and what feels bad in it. Let me give you some example of fear. Like on Monday, when you are getting ready to go to office, you don't like it because you are scared. You have a fear that you might need to do a lot of work which you don't like, or you might need to encounter some people you don't like. Paying your bills, sometimes you don't feel good because you are scared. You have fear that you might not have enough money. Or when someone cuts you in the traffic, you are scared because they put your life in danger. So all these examples have fear in them, and that brings unhappiness. Most unpleasant feeling boil down to fear. Fear is the enemy of happiness. How happiness does not work. People try a lot of things to be happy. Most of them don't work. So they just try them hard. Let me give you the examples of few things. Getting more money or possessions, getting more power or status, pursuing indulgent pleasure, focusing on weakness and trying to improve them instead of playing on strengths, striving to be perfect and accepting nothing else, trying to force happiness using false affirmations or other tricks. Once these things don't work, they try even harder and get unhappy. Let's see more things which make people unhappy. And I'll say again, if you have any doubt anytime, feel free to ask. So we have all heard that money can't buy happiness, but most people don't believe. They argue. A lot of you might argue. It is surprising but true. Money does not bring. Lots of studies have been done on this. A year after winning lottery, the happiness level of lottery winner comes back to previous state where once he did not win the lottery. And the people who have had terrible accidents, their happiness level after a year of accident also comes back. If money was enough to make us happy, there should be a lot of people saying, I got that last raise. Now I have enough money and I am happy. Yet I have never heard anyone saying that. Most rich people seem to be quite unhappy. In fact, a lot of movie stars and rock musicians, if they were happy, they wouldn't be doing drugs. Similarly, like money, similarly, possessions also do not bring happiness. If they did, wouldn't we be happy by now? Seeing how far we are in our life, wouldn't we be already happy? Like for me, I have bought a lot of awesome things, but the only ones that have made difference were the ones that are involved in doing something. Like for example, my card games, skateboard, or dive mask. All these things are involved in activities which take me to flow state. The things themselves don't matter, but doing fun things with them does. In addition to money, possession, there are more things like bogus, false affirmation, whitewashing reality, and feeding yourself with bogus affirmations that you know aren't true won't help. Any philosophy that requires you to deny reality is a false path. Insincerity is as bad as anger for your heart. Your body will feel tension between truth and seeing the way you are acting. It's important to look for good, but it's even more important to be real. And let me know if you have any questions, because a lot of people might doubt what I'm saying, because on social media, on internet, everyone is talking about affirmations and telling yourself something, cook up something. So uh, I I would definitely motivate you and encourage you to speak your heart out. This is very open session. No one will judge anyone.
I'd like to share one little thing, Andy. I know
Yeah.
one way a lot of people might strive for happiness is by comparing themselves. We often compare ourselves to our neighbors, but we might get some kind of happiness or temporarily satisfaction by, making fun. You see funny videos of people hurting themselves and we're laughing at their expense. That kind of happiness as well.
True, true. Comparison is like, it's also a fear, like it's major cause of unhappiness. Because if you are seeing your neighbors and getting envy or jealous, that's the fear of not being enough. Because you believe that you are not being enough, you are lacking something, and that will cause major unhappiness. So this is one part. This is one part of fear. And fear is the enemy of happiness. Yeah, good point, Adrian. Thank you. Right. Other persistent attitudes that are obstacle to happiness are victimization, feeling of entitlement, waiting for rescue, and blaming. We will see these points in detail later. Staying stuck and focusing on what you can't do instead of taking full control and responsibility. This is also a major cause of unhappiness. Terrible things happening to you don't have to make you unhappy unless you hang on to them and let them define you. See, like we discussed earlier with Adrian's input, that fear of not having enough. Now we will discuss that in detail. What is the real cause of unhappiness? Unhappiness comes from fear. There are two types of fear: fear of not having enough and fear of not being enough. All the worries, such as money, job security, possession, bigger houses, and power, come from not having enough. The worry about what other people think, not being loved, not being able to do something well, come from not having enough. The worry or about getting what other people think, not or not getting fired, come from not being enough. Or comparing yourself with your neighbors, like what Adrian mentioned. This is one example of not being enough. So this is the real cause of unhappiness. That is fear. Right. Let's go to the next slide. Why is fear such a huge part of our lives? By world standard, we are incredibly well off. So why are we still afraid? Where does all this fear come from? The answer is in the structure of brain. The brain, there are two parts. One is brain stem, another one is amygdala. So the brain stem, which we share with lizard, is the part responsible for fight, flight, freeze response. Our ancestors needed it. If a big hungry animal is after them, but we don't need it in modern times. But we still have it in our brain. And it is always looking at everything with fear, because that's what it's built for. So again, I will summarize it just to make sure you understand. So brainstem was needed by our ancestors. It is responsible for freeze, flight, fight. We don't need it in modern times, but it still does it work and gives us a lot of fear, pressure, stress. This is lower part of the brain. And then there is another part of the brain, which is known as amygdala. This is also in the lower part of the brain, which we share with other mammals. It stores all bad memories and look for patterns of things to be afraid of. This was handy again for our ancestors to notice the rustle of grass that meant a tiger was stalking. Not so useful now, especially since it triggers the endocrine system to release stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. You need these hormones if you are running from a tiger, but in modern times, they are more likely to have you a heart attack. So these are the two parts which is doing all the back for us. They are processing fear and generating unhappiness, and we barely have any control on them. It's automatic system of the brain. After this, we will see how happiness does work. So far, we have seen how it does not work. The ability to be happy comes from neocortex, the higher part of the brain, responsible for reason, intellect, long-term memory, and the human spirit. It has the power to override the fear centers in the brainstem and amygdala and say, no, calm down, and everything is okay. It has key to happiness. The way we are wired, it is impossible to concentrate on fear and love at the same time. Using neocortex to focus on love, we can override fear messages from lower part of brain. Specifically by focusing on appreciation, generosity, personal choice, simply doing things that are meaningful, we can make ourselves happy, not by bogus facade of pretend happiness. So there are two parts which process all the unhappiness, and then there is this neocortex which process happiness. So you can focus on love, appreciation, generosity, always. We will discuss further in the session how to focus on these things. But this is very important, so that's why I'm repeating again. How happiness does work. It is working through neocortex. You need to focus on appreciation, generosity, personal choice, simply doing things that are meaningful to you, working on your higher purpose or goals. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Tools for happiness. So now we have seen how happiness works, how it doesn't work, and how much we can control. Now we will get some tools. Studies have shown that tipping point for being happy is 3:1 ratio, positive to negative thoughts. If you have fewer than 3 positive thoughts for each negative thought, nothing much will happen. But once you hit 3:1 mark, you will start flourishing. Tipping point is 3:1, not 3:0. We are not trying to eliminate negativity altogether, where we pretend bad things never happen. Happiness tools will help you to bring enough positivity to reach 3:1 ratio. Ask me questions if you have, because I would love to answer. I hope this is clear. We are not trying to eliminate negativity altogether. The ratio is 3:1. So for one negative thought, once we have 3 positive thoughts, we flourish. But if we have 1 negative thought, 2 positive thoughts, we still suffer.
And I've heard a similar ratio like this for relationship therapy or relationship coaching. They use a ratio of like 6:1 in relationships. So if in your relationship you have 1 negative thing, you need 6 positive. So this is great, Andy. I like this.
Yeah, I also love the reference of how all of this is happening in the brain itself. And I love that you show light on the idea of the thoughts. I love this book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And there's a process inside of how to, rewire your habits And one of the things that the author shares that we don't get rid of bad habits, we just replace them with better ones. Yeah, and as you see that we have these 3 negative thoughts and 1 positive. So when we shine the light of awareness on this, that's how we can make that switch. And a lot of what we do in NLP really, focusing on this idea of taking those 3 negative and turn them into 3 positive. Yeah, so we flip the ratio on its head. So I'm really loving that we're seeing the science and the biology behind of how the happiness theory works. Yeah, thank you for that, Andy.
Pleasure. And also one point I would like to add, we are not trying to make race to zero, because bad things do exist in the world. So we are not trying to, like, again, that facade, bogus things that nothing bad happens with this, that. Everything happens, but we need to control our thoughts and everything. Negativity is there, bad things are there, but we need to find how to focus on positive things. But thank you, Diano, for that input. Let's go to the next slide. Now, first tool for happiness is gratitude, and this is the fast track to happiness. Love and fear cannot coexist in brain. Gratitude is the purest form of love, easiest to access, and works the quickest. How to use it? Let me tell you. Develop a gratitude habit. Each night before going to sleep, list 5 things you are grateful for that day. So in the beginning, it might be hard, but as you start to do, it will get very easy. It will be natural. After a while, it will be natural. You will be, every night before going to sleep, your brain will automatically think about 5. In the beginning, it might be difficult to think about 5 things, but later you would be able to think about 10, 15 things, because you will be noticing throughout your day what I'm grateful for, and you will pay attention on those things. And what will happen is, throughout the day, you are also using this gratitude exercise, because you are focusing on those things, because in the night you will recall those things, recollect those things. So once you will enjoy while you are experiencing it, and in the night before sleep you will again relive it. And what happens is before the night, if you are doing this gratitude practice, you are putting your brain in positive mode for the night, and that works very well for your subconscious mind, and that gives you a very good sleep, and for the next day you are very well recharged. So this is the fast track to happiness and easiest one. I have more inputs, but the thing is, the session usually we don't allow us to go in a lot of details. So I'm keeping everything very brief. But if I go in detail, there is a lot to talk about each tool and everything, what I talked before also. Another thing is, you can also have a theme of the day, like you can make it like best books or favorite food for gratitude, and notice a leaf is falling, or if you see some finding beauty in flower. So these are small things. Second would be optimism. Biggest difference between optimism and pessimist is, optimists assume that good things are permanent and pervade. Bad things are temporary. Pessimists do opposite. Pessimists think always bad things will happen and always think about negativity. For most things, we wouldn't know the real reason why they happened. If we know, also we can use more positive interpretation when we explain it to ourselves. For example, job search. An optimist will think, I'm doing my best, I'm applying for a lot of jobs, and eventually I'll get a job, I'll get a good job. I'm doing my best. I'm doing what I can control. I'm doing my best, and I'm doing whatever is in my control. But a pessimist would think, nobody wants to hire me. I'm flawed. I have this problem, that problem. And another example I could give, if you win a contest, if you are optimist, you will talk great about yourself. I worked hard. I prepared for years or months. You will talk highly of yourself. But if you are a pessimist, then you will say, oh, it was a fluke. I got lucky. There were less contenders. So this is also a big difference between optimist and pessimist. People mostly think about themselves or their own issues. If someone is trying to hurt you, is because they are scared or suffering. You'll be happier if you assume their bad manners are due to their own issues. So stay optimist. Why I'm saying this? Just to stay optimistic. If someone is doing something, you don't have to be pessimist or think anything bad about that. Stay positive. If anyone is trying to hurt you or something, or is not very nice to you, it's because they are screwed in their own life. You still need to stay optimist. Let's see next point. Defeating faulty thinking. Don't believe everything you think. Our thoughts are based on our assumptions of the world. And sometimes those assumptions are just plain wrong. Our thoughts are shaped by what we have been in habit of thinking. Pathways in our brain become more solid each time we go down them, and the ones we don't use fade away. That's why we remember our favorite songs or poems from childhood, but we don't remember. We barely remember trigonometry or calculus. A very difficult one. Because after learning it in the school, we did not use it later. So same way, if you go through your positive thoughts again and again, your mind get used to it. And all these things comes with practice. It's not that I teach you today, some magic will happen tomorrow, and from tomorrow you will be very happy. You need to practice it again and again. I would say for years, I'm doing that. And then it gets natural. Like I said about gratitude, if you keep doing it for 15 nights or a month, then it will get natural later. So it all comes by practice, and it takes time, everything. Each time you think something, you are enforcing that path in your brain. So the more positive things you think, your brain get used to that positivity. And it gets easier and easier to do that. The more you do, later it will get easy. So 10 common things that people think that make them miserable. It just aren't true. Other people's opinion of you is crucial. And if they reject you, it means you are worthless. So for this one, if you are doing right thing, that all matters. And if you are not, then change it. Other people's opinion doesn't matter at all. You must not fail at anything important or something terrible will happen to you. So you have to try new things. You need to keep trying, because a lot of things in the world were innovated because of this only. Like post-it notes, they were trying to make super hard glue, but it was a failure, and they invented post-it notes, which are very popular so far. People and things should conform to your idea of the way the world should work. If they don't, they are wrong or bad. So it's like you cannot change anyone. You cannot change anyone in the world. You can just change yourself or work on yourself. So just focus on that. If something goes wrong, it's somebody's fault. You better make sure it's not yours. So for this one, nobody likes to get their nose rubbed. So it's better not to blame someone or something. You better be happy than right or blaming someone else. So never blame it. Worrying about something will make it turn out better than if you didn't worry. So worrying doesn't help at all. Try to outsource your worrying to virtual assistant or something. Your assistant. Pretend there is someone working for you and outsource all your worries to that person. I do that. Every problem has a perfect solution. Only that solution will do. You must find it as quickly as possible. So again, just see, if you want to do anything, there are many ways to do that. There are many paths to follow. So don't stay stuck to find the perfect path. Just find the good enough one and work on it. And always in future, if you find better way, just switch to that one. Don't stay stuck. Just find good enough one and start whatever your project or your goal is. It is easier to avoid difficult situations and responsibilities than to face them. You need to be realistic. You need to do not procrastinate or delay anything. You need to do it now. if you really want to be happy and satisfied and fulfilled in your life. You can protect yourself from getting hurt by never caring too deeply or investing yourself too much in any pursuit. So in this one, a lot of times we just say we are trying to do something, we are trying to accomplish, or we say we did not give our 100%. These all are excuses. If you want to do something, just do it. And for the relationships, if you want very good relationship with people or your peers, your colleagues, or I would not say okay, for colleague, for everyone, you need to be open. You need to let other person see all of you, raw you, everything of you. If you really want true intimate relationship, if you are trying to sugarcoat or hide something, then that relationship would never develop to that level. You need to open your heart if you really want that relationship with someone, pure relationship. The only way is to be open and raw. Do not hide anything if you really want that strong relationship. Your past determines your life now and forever. I don't think I need to explain this. Bad people and things shouldn't exist. So if they do, you have to get upset about them. You don't have to get upset about them. Bad things always exist. Next tool, being nice to yourself. By changing what you think, you can be your best friend. You can be that one person who is always with you, helping you and supporting you. Think about what's great about best friends and be that way to yourself. Instead of criticizing yourself, make a habit of praising you. If you are going to bogus thought pattern, like start feeling upset or full, you need to change them. It's not or it's never event or people that make you upset, but it's your beliefs and reaction to them that makes you upset. Beliefs comes from feelings comes from thoughts. So again, you need to change your thoughts. Just notice once you are starting to go to that bogus thought pattern or negative or criticizing yourself, you need to realize that you are starting to think. The next step is you need to change them. Think about something else. Next tool is responsibility. To be happy, we need to take our lives in our own hands. Choosing your present over past and your power over the power of anyone else or anything that's ever happened to you. There are 4 main ways people give up control. You need to eliminate them from your life. Those are victimization, entitlement, rescue, and blame. Let's see victimization. Have you been wronged or something happened to you, kept you from doing what you want? I think for most of us, actually, you can turn this situation around. It doesn't have to define your life. You can treat it as an experience that has made you strong. You have a choice. So if something happened to you in past or in your childhood or whenever, you don't need to suffer from it. Change the situation to your advantage and take it as it made you stronger. You have a choice. You have a choice. How you take that situation as. Rape victims, children sold into slavery have managed to overcome the atrocities and go on to live a positive life. Exercise your freedom to choose your own way. So you have a choice. Exercise your freedom. Okay, let's see the next one. Entitlement. It is an idea that someone owes you something, like parents should support, employer should give you good raise, or your wife should take care of you, or your friends. Fact is, world doesn't owe you a living, and you will feel better if you make your own instead. There's more satisfaction in it. Rescue. Wait for someone else to rescue you from your current situation. Rescue yourself instead. You have much more control over making it happen. Blame. Blaming is like victimization. Like we already saw victimization. You can get out of almost any situation if you want, especially in countries like developed countries like China, um, or Western countries. It's comfortable to blame others for your unhappiness because that way you can feel sorry for yourself. This is one thing why people blame. Blaming someone and showing you are clearly right and someone else is wrong does not help. Wouldn't you rather be happy than right? Wouldn't you be someone not to feel sorry for? So you should stay away from these things: victimization, entitlement, rescue, and blame. Let's see next tool: forgiveness. So I think this can help a lot of people, and this is very nice thing to discuss here. Forgiveness. If you really want to be free and powerful, you have to drop old grievances. That means forgiving. It can be very difficult, we all know, because we are unable to forgive our transgressor. You refuse to forgive, so that other people keep suffering. What's the purpose? We don't forgive because we want other person to keep suffering. But it buys us nothing. Their suffering will buy us nothing. The crucial thing is to help us stop suffering. Forgiveness is the way to make that happen. Once we forgive, we ourselves heal and stop suffering. To forgive, you can follow reach process. Reach, like recall, empathize, altruistically give forgiveness, commit yourself to it, and hold on to it. Let's see recall. First step, remember the event clearly and objectively. Do not think about motives or right or wrong. Just describe what happened neutrally and factually. Visualize it. Second is empathize. Imagine what other person's perspective might have been. If transgressor was asked to explain what he or she might say, if transgressor have asked to explain what he or she might have to say. Consider people are most likely to hurt others when they are afraid. This is important, so pardon me, I'm repeating my sentences because I want to make sure that you understand well. So I'm repeating. Consider people are most likely to hurt others when they are afraid. So here, fear is coming in. They often don't mean to hurt others and don't think about what they are doing. They just lash out in attempt to protect themselves. Mostly. That doesn't make it right, but it may make it make sense. So their action, whatever the reason was, doesn't make it right, but it makes sense. If we understand these things, it makes sense and it will help the process. Altruistically give forgiveness. Remember a time when you hurt someone but were forgiven. That was a gift. If you can gift it to your transgressor, it will mean that you are rising above the hurt and anger. It's not easy. If you can do it from generous heart, it will set you free. Then next is commit yourself. Write a letter to your transgressor. I know that's difficult, but if you cannot, then just tell your friend to just write yourself a note, something to make it official. Hold on to it. Once you remember the incident again, remind yourself that you have forgiven and move on to thinking about other things. It will get better with practice. So all these things, all the principles, all the tools, everything needs practice. And I would say years of practice. For me, it is. It takes 3, 4, 5, 6 years to keep practicing this and then get it natural for you. It takes a long time. Seven tool is looking for the good. Another trick that can help speed things up on the journey to happiness is looking for the lesson and the gift in everything. Look for good in everything. We never know how things will turn out. So we might as well assume there is some good in everything that happens. Try it for a week, assuming that universe is friendly and has your best interest at heart, and everything that happens is for your good. You can try this exercise for a week. Gratifying work. Doing meaningful work that calls on your strength builds happiness. People do best and enjoy their work when it meets these three conditions: autonomy, competence, relatedness. Being great at what you do is a form of career capital. Once you have that, use it to get autonomy. It's also important to know what you are trying to accomplish. Do you know what's important to you? What qualities do you value in yourself? Take the time to list these governing values. When you know them, act in accordance with them. You will feel inner peace. If you are not sure where to start, think about where you spend most of your effort, what you would risk everything for, what do you do with your free time, what you would do if you only had 6 months to live. Next thing is flow state. Once you align yourself with your values and do challenging work that calls on your strength, flow state is like once you are engaged in the task at hand, like for example, this session. If you are fully engaged in this session, you wouldn't be thinking about anything else. And after this session, you would feel very happy. That's the byproduct. So if you are in a football match, your whole attention is in the match and you're playing it, and you would not think about happiness or anything else. But after the game finishes, you will feel happy. So whatever you are doing at present, if you are fully involved in that, I would connect this with mindfulness actually. If you're totally mindful, later you will feel happiness as a byproduct. And yeah. So this is the flow state.
Yeah, Andy, man, I really want to chime in there, man. You're right on the ball. I agree with everything. I went to a football game in a big football stadium, and I was shocked. I looked around, and the amount of people on their mobile phones during in the football stadium on their phones. These people have paid money. They've gone there. They've gone to see the game live. And in the middle of the game, they're on their phones. And it's just like, you can see the amount of people I saw like flicking through their phones. And I'm like, you've come all the way here to a football game and they're on their phone. But then I guess a lot of people are addicted to that stuff as well, hey? So they're addicted to being out of flow rather than being addicted to being in flow.
Very well said. It's like the watching phone gives same kick in what people get from smoking or drugs or something. It's like that. These days, if you take phone away from millennials or young people, they would feel very uncomfortable. So just to release your stress or something, people keep watching phone from time to time and they feel a release. They feel relaxed, like smokers smoke cigarette. It's all mental things. So phone is like this these days. Unfortunately. But yeah, great point. Thank you. So activities like rock climbing, writing, skiing, painting, dancing puts you in flow state, but watching TV does not. Flow state requires concentration. It should be challenging. Like if you are playing football match, it challenges you and it requires your full attention. Then let's see giving. For giving, if you are giving from your true heart, it brings a feeling of love. And love brings happiness. The giving should be true, honest. It should not be offer. It should not be in the anticipation of getting something back. It should be done while thinking that you don't expect anything back, and that will give you ultimate happiness. That will give you feeling of gratitude. Once you are helping something and thinking that in future they might help you back or they might be beneficial for you, that giving is not giving. That will not bring that happiness to you. That's kind of a business. That's kind of a barter, if I'm making sense. So that's not true giving. True honest giving brings gratitude and love, and that brings happiness. Next is balance. We know about it, but it's important. We need to balance our health, relationship, and purpose. For health, we need to exercise, eat healthy, sleep well. Relationships, take the time to keep in touch with your friends, family, and feed those relationships. For purpose, spend some time each day to work on your purpose, meaningful work. This will give you gratification and satisfaction. It's your chance to be fully yourself and make your mark on the world. By incorporating health, relationship, and purpose into every day, you make sure to keep yourself fed and thriving so you can keep getting better and better and happier and happier. Let's go to the conclusion. You can have a good life by doing work that involves your signature strengths every day. So just focus on your strengths. Do not focus on your weakness. And if you focus on your weakness, that will just bring unhappiness. And if you try harder to work on your weakness, that will like screw you. So focus on the work that involves your signature strength, feeding your relationships, and taking care of yourself. No matter what your circumstances, you have the power to make yourself happier. Live your life according to your values. Take action to make your life what you want it to be, and use the happiness tools. Remember that 3:1 ratio. It will help you to flourish.
Boom! You made it here! Good on you. Make sure you click the subscribe button below and check out the playlist at the end. If you'd like to come along to our Sunday sessions where we host a live free Q&A for our students and members, you're welcome. I'll see you there.